Buckle up, butter your popcorn, and brace yourselves for a wild ride. It's time to dive headfirst into the pinnacle of motorsport, the world of Formula One. This is the sport where speed demons with nerves of steel battle it out for glory. We've got overtakes, crashes, drama, and maybe even a few champagne showers along the way. Today, we're on a journey to Platinum F1 24 and hunt down all 51 beautiful trophies to add to our collection. Our journey begins in driver career, where we are grinding to become 99 overall and becoming the greatest of all time. In order to achieve these momentous feats, I needed a devil behind the wheel. Max Verstappen, a 3-time and soon-to-be 4th-time world champion, the man who is the youngest ever Formula One champion and holds the most race wins within a single season. It is truly fitting that he will help us to achieve this coveted platinum. Our season begins in Bahrain, and we're going to bring the heat to the Middle East. For those that don't follow Formula One, a regular Grand Prix is broken down into 3 practice sessions, qualifying, and ultimately the race. To start with practice, these sessions provide teams and drivers with the opportunity to become familiar with the track, as the tyre and weather conditions are unique every time, and teams use every bit of data gathered to fine-tune their car setups to enhance their performance and strategy. After practice is done, we move on to qualifying. The purpose of qualifying is pretty simple: to establish the starting order for the Grand Prix. For certain tracks like Monaco, the real race is within qualifying, as each track is very different in terms of the ability to overtake. The qualifying session is broken down into Q1, Q2, and Q3. During each session, each driver competes to set a fast lap. If you're in the bottom 5 of either Q1 or Q2, you're unfortunately eliminated. This makes Q3 the most important, as it establishes the grid order for the top 10 and, most importantly, the pole sitter. Finally, and most importantly, the race. This is where legends are made and careers are defined, the pinnacle of F1. Beginning with our qualifying, we are in the hot seat to hunt our 4th World Drivers' Championship. As we approach the finish line with the fastest lap, we unlock up at the pointy end for achieving our first pole position. This brings us to our very first race. As we engage the clutch, rev our engine, we are lights out in Bahrain. We're slow off the mark, and we have Lando storming in from the right very closely, followed by Carlos Sainz on my left. Thankfully, we're late to brake, and we exit turn 1 as the leader of the Bahrain Grand Prix. As we pass the final turn in the Grand Prix, we nearly send it off the edge, but thankfully we pass the finish line and unlock Takes the Flag for winning our very first race. When wrapping up the race weekend, we also unlocked Do I Recognize You for achieving above 55% recognition with the team. Moving on to the China Grand Prix, we focus on completing 4 specialist goals that have to be completed in a race weekend. Winning the Grand Prix, we ensured all goals were completed and extracurricular unlocks. Jumping ahead now in Max's career mode, we find ourselves in Austria. Thankfully, there's no Lando Norris to take us out in the final laps of the race. As we cross the finish line, we unlock Well Seasoned, which marks our 24th race completion. The next stop in the calendar is Max Verstappen's home ground, the Netherlands Grand Prix. This race is a bit different, as we're starting in P20, also known as last place. As the lights go out, we have another slow start, but that's no matter, as no one can overtake us. I make a play for the outside till I make a dart back in on the inside. We storm into turn 1 and we are very late on the brakes until we eventually make a slight dink into Daniel Ricciardo. As we exit turn 1, we settle into P12, making an 8th place grid overtake. Our work isn't done as we pass Gasly into turn 2, then Sonoda and Albon in turn 3. In P9 now, heading into turn 7, we cut inside Hamilton until we nearly collide and take us both out. 2 turns later, we catch Sainz napping as we exit the turn in P7. Skipping ahead to lap 2, we're now in the hunt for a podium as we're able to pass Norris into P3. Into turn 1 again, we're able to pull off an audacious dive bomb on Russell and we only have Charles to catch. At the end of lap 3, we utilise DRS to get a massive speed boost and pull the overtake off in turn 14. We now cruise on home to complete the last to first victory, unlocking our 6th trophy.
And it is double Dutch delight for Max Verstappen, who crosses the line to win the Dutch Grand Prix.
To make our victory even sweeter, we also defeated our rivalry championship with Lando Norris, unlocking just better. We're now off to Austin in the US of A. This race is special, as instead of 3 practice sessions, 2 of the practices are replaced with sprint qualifying and a sprint race. A sprint race is the equivalent to half of a regular Grand Prix, and only the top 8 drivers receive championship points, with first place receiving 8. Thankfully, in the sprint race, we clean up shop and score an easy win. We then also set pole for the race in very wet conditions. During the race, we started dominating, and I built up an 8-second lead over the rookie Fernando Alonso. This enabled us to have a lap like 2022 Charles Leclerc and finish the race in first place with the fastest lap point, enabling us to unlock all the points. Our final trophy with Max Verstappen comes when we finally achieve 99 overall rating, unlocking the corresponding 99 club trophy. To shift gears, we create our very own custom character and select Aston Martin to be our constructor. The reason is very simple as to why we've chosen Aston Martin.
You'll be using this Aston Martin DB5 with modifications. Now pay attention, please. Windscreen bulletproof, as are the side and the rear windows. Revolving number plates naturally. Valid all countries.
With our new driver and team, we find ourselves back in Bahrain for another season opener. This Grand Prix is slightly different, as I set the fastest lap in P1, P2, and of course P3. We then start on pole, and as I cross the finish line for our maiden victory, we unlock a great weekend. As we return to the menus, we unlock our very first career accolade, which unlocks the first of many. Skipping ahead now to Canada, we have developed rivalries with Max Verstappen, Logan Sargent, and Fernando Alonso. Having the 3 rivalries active at once unlocks not making friends. Our next stop in the calendar is the home of Formula 1, the British Grand Prix in Silverstone, where all I remember is this famous soundbite.
Yeah, Perez is catching Charles Leclerc, he takes him towards the inside, Perez on the inside, Charles Leclerc gives him just enough space, can Perez squeeze past, they're going wheel to wheel, towards Vale now, who's going to be last on the brakes, Leclerc has that inside line, through goes Hamilton, unbelievable stuff!
Our Silverstone journey begins with setting an optimal grid position. We then set the fastest lap of the race. Finally, as we go into the pits to change our tyres, we make an optimal turn-in, which unlocks tremendous trio. Now, to ensure I don't turn this video into 2 hours long, we quickly unlocked Target Acquired for gaining 3 overall levels over our expected growth, Perfection for earning 4 perks from our specialists, and finally, Strong Relations for reaching level 3 with a specialist. Our next milestone is racing in Sao Paulo, Brazil. In 2024, Max drove arguably his greatest ever race in the rain, and I'll let him explain how it was.
You know what that is? Simply lovely. I tell you that.
Thankfully, in my career, we were able to secure the win, which increases our rivalry with Max to heated. This enables us to unlock It's Getting Hot in Here. For the third last race in the F1 calendar, Get ready for the glitz and glamour of Formula One racing under the neon lights of Las Vegas. There's certainly a unique experience being able to drive down the Las Vegas Strip at over 300 kilometers an hour. When the race is finished, we unlock Mechanical Marvel for winning the Constructors' Championship with Aston Martin. In the 20th century, there has been 5 drivers' championships decided on the final day of a race weekend. In 2007, Kimi Räikkönen became champion by just a single point after a thrilling 3-way battle between Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso. In 2008, Lewis Hamilton won his first championship in dramatic fashion, overtaking Timo Glock on the final corner of the last lap of the Brazilian Grand Prix to secure the necessary 5th place finish. You can literally see the Ferrari garage being told that Lewis finished in 5th and Felipe Massa isn't the world champion. In 2010, a 4-way title battle came down to the wire between Fernando Alonso, Mark Webber, Sebastian Vettel, and Lewis Hamilton. In the end, only one could be crowned. In 2016, a battle of brothers occurred between Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. Famously, it was Rosberg's final race after defeating his fellow teammate and deciding later to retire after winning his only world championship. Most recently, in 2021, Max Verstappen overtook Lewis Hamilton on the final lap of the race after an extremely controversial safety car period. Let's just hear what it was like between GP and Max.
Oh my lord, Max! Oh my
Yes! Oh my God! Woo! Yes! Oh my God!
Now, in 2024, Max Verstappen is currently leading the Drivers' Championship by 5 points. It all now comes down to one night in Abu Dhabi. History will be made one way or the other. We're lights out and we're storming into turn 1. Max is hot on my heels and I take the turn extremely wide to avoid crashing out. Thankfully, we steady the ship and we're leading the Drivers' Championship. On lap 2 of the main straight, I'm caught sleeping with the door open and Max takes the opportunity to overtake. Thankfully, into the next corner, I'm able to cut inside and reclaim the lead. On lap 3 on the same straight, I close the door on Max, which enables us to survive another lap. On lap 4, Verstappen pulls off a successful overtake and even Checo has the pace to briefly knock me into 3rd. Thankfully, we're late on the brakes and reclaim the lead. On the final lap, Max makes his final charge and all seems lost.
Max Verstappen, you are the world champion! The world champion!
Until we make a drastic cut inside. As we approach the final turn, we cross the finish line as the world champion.
Yes, guys, yes! Come on, boys!
For this achievement, we unlock a lump in my throat for winning the Drivers' Championship. Now, after the celebrations conclude, we were actually having secret meetings throughout the year with Toto. This enables us to receive a contract from Mercedes, and when we sign a multi-year deal, we unlock Sign the Dotted Line. And we also unlock Silly Season for signing with a team we had secret meetings with. Heading into our second season, we select the Aero Research and Development scenario, which enables us to unlock Rise to the Challenge. With only 2 trophies remaining on our custom character career, the first is Custom Hotshot for reaching 80 overall with a custom driver. Finally, we unlock It's Not Me, It's You for raising our rivalry with Max to career-defining intensity. We now proceed to create career modes with Charles Leclerc and Michael Schumacher. When we're driving as Charles, we get a message from our race engineer to complete a bonus objective during a race. When we complete the objective, we unlock Objectively Dynamic, as it's actually our 25th objective complete. Furthermore, we increase Charles's focus to 90, unlocking Laser Focused. Next up, with Michael Schumacher driving a V-Carb in 2024. As we complete qualifying, we unlock front row friends for looking out the front row with a friend. Thankfully, majority of the career mode has now been achieved and we're now able to start racing in F1 World. F1 World acts as an in-game hub where players can compete in new live challenges which are updated by EA to reflect what has been occurring during the season or to compete historical challenges. This will enable you to get new customizations for your custom character and car. Finally, and most importantly, F1 World hosts the online ranked mode, which is where we immediately jumped into on launch of the game. Our first race is in Monaco, and in qualifying I proceeded to immediately cut into turn 1, which deletes my lap regardless of the time I set, which means I'll be starting back of the grid. For the race, I had very little hope, as you may recall me saying earlier. For certain tracks like Monaco, the real race is within qualifying, as each track is very different in terms of the ability to overtake. After the first turn, we are well and truly last, and I'm preparing to pull a Kimi Räikkönen, who watched the race from his yacht after retiring. This is, of course, until we reach turn 3. Our opponent in front of us keeps the door open, enabling us to pass, and I slam that door shut. Then, after turn 4, we find a strange individual who binned it on a straight as we pass into a podium position. Then, in turn 5, we find another strange individual who binned it straight into the wall, enabling us to pass into second place. As we pass turn 7, there's a 3-second gap between us and first place. At the end of lap 1, the gap has now ballooned into 4-second lead. In order to win this race, I needed to become a honey badger. During my Ricciardo era, there's now nearly an 8-second gap built up until my race engineer comes on the radio.
Yellow flag.
After turn 18, we see that first place actually crashed, wiping the lead down to a second. During turn 6, on the final lap, my challenger does the unthinkable.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine.
After I'm finished muscling my way through my opponent, we are now leading the Monaco Grand Prix. I kept my cool and brought home the victory in Monaco. This enables me to unlock showing them how it's done. With our heroic victory now in the books, we're now able to explore the garage. Here we unlock Pass the Spanner for equipping an item, and with the pre-order of the Champions Edition, we received a free unique item, and when we equip it, we unlock one of a kind. Then we upgrade an item, unlocking Development Race. Finally, we dismantle 50 items, unlocking some of its parts. After taking a short break from F1, we log back in and unlock Going Up for receiving a promotion in Ranked. Next up, we start grinding out the challenges and offline modes of F1 World. Here we unlock True Fan for earning 10,000 fan points in a single F1 World season. And we unlock Up and Running for redeeming a completed goal in F1 World. Prior to proceeding, let me introduce you to the worst trophy I've possibly ever seen. In the Zone. The trophy description reads, be in the winning zone of either a constructor or driver fan zone room. When you log into F1 World for the first time, you are able to select a constructor and driver to represent your selections for a full F1 24 season, which lasts around 3 months each. For season 1, I selected McLaren and Lando Norris as we currently had no idea what the winning zone would be, so I covered my bases and hoped that Lando Norris fans would help carry me if it turned into a popularity contest. After making our selections, we are placed into the McLaren and Lando fan zones and are seemingly competing with our peers in a room to be in the winning zone come the end of the season. Well, it turns out that all that effort was for naught, as the trophy is pure RNG. Your individual performances won't really make a difference, as in order to get the trophy, your selection of driver or constructor has to end up winning at the end of the season, which is 3 months. Let me just tell you now, trophy hunters were not happy at all with this trophy. After season 1 was over, VCarb and Yuki Tsunoda were the winners. People caught on very quickly that if you just never logged on into F1 World until 5 minutes before the season closed, you could have picked Yuki and VCarb and end up receiving the trophy after no stress. For season 2, I was not going to let EA win. This time I waited until the season had exactly 5 minutes until it was all over and selected VCarb and Nico Hülkenberg.
Nico Hülkenberg.
However, the plan wasn't foolproof, as there was only 394 points between VCarb and Haas. Simultaneously, there was only a 1,388 point gap between Hülkenberg and Tsunoda. After re-entering F1 World when the season ends, I picked my boy Oscar Piastri and lock in our choices for a third season, unlocking Tough Choices. We then thankfully unlock In the Zone after both VCarb and Hülkenberg managed to survive in the winning zone at the end of the season. After receiving the hardest trophy in the game, we edit our license unlocking Express Your Fandom. We also craft an item from a blueprint unlocking Crafty. Now back to some actual racing. We were able to unlock Reach Out to the Fans for completing 10 fan liaison goals. Next up, we unlocked Vending Machine for completing a goal from each of the 7 vendors in F1 World. Our next 3 trophies all relate to the wonderful Compendium and stickers. After certain races or events in F1 World, we're able to unlock stickers and place them into Compendium that recognizes teams, drivers, circuits, and champions. Champions is where our first trophy is at. After we place 30 stickers in the Champions Compendium, we unlock Everyone's a Winner. We then spend 1,000 fan tokens to feed our sticker addiction, unlocking Hey Big Fan Token Spender. Finally, we purchase our 100th token, which unlocks Got repeated 3 more times. Now, back to racing again. I unlocked the grindiest trophy, Safety Does It, for achieving a safety rating A. The only way you contribute to your safety rating consistently is driving clean laps. And as you start with your rating as C, it takes a lot of laps. Our next couple of trophies sees us becoming somewhat of a film director, as we unlock Downtown Snapper for taking a series of photos across the F1 calendar. We then unlock Lights, Camera, Action for saving a highlight in theater mode. With only 4 trophies remaining, we return to my Oscar Piastri career mode, and after we unlock enough career accolades, we see Oscar Piastri become the greatest of all time. Moving forward, we dip our toes into My Team career. This mode sees us create our very own team that joins the F1 paddock, and we're in charge of operations. Sadly, there's only one very basic trophy in this mode for developing a component in every research and development department, which unlocks all areas covered. Our final trophy sees us return to Silverstone, but this time as the Englishman himself, Lando Norris. On our final lap of Silverstone, we cross the finish line a champion, unlocking full English and the best of the best as we officially platinumed F1 24. So there you have it, 51 trophies conquered, countless hours of blood, sweat and tears, and one very, very shiny platinum. F1 2024 certainly put me through my paces, with challenging ranging from exhilarating highs of last to first victories to the infuriating RNG of In the Zone. A huge thank you to everyone who joined me on this wild ride. If you enjoyed this video, I would be super grateful if you considered subscribing, and the best way to support me, as always, is to watch another video. Until next time, keep racing, keep winning, and I'll catch you on the track.